Okay, I think that we all know how to make a game. There are countless video tutorials on YouTube that show you how to make games. Some of them are literally a step-by-step guide where if you copy the dude on the video, by the end of the playlist, you'll get a full-on game. But do you know how to not create a game? I know, that sounded stupid. Regardless, today we're gonna be looking at the worst mistakes that you could possibly make while making a game on Roblox. Mistakes that could potentially cost you either a very good amount of time or a very good amount of money, which are two very important things while making a game, right? Pay close attention to the mistakes I'm about to mention. I had to learn them the hard way. You already know I made most of these mistakes I'm about to mention here, if not all of them, but hopefully you don't have to go through the same thing I did. Before I tell you the crucial mistakes, let me tell you a quick story. When I started to get some experience in making games back in 2021, 2022, I started making a lot of different projects I had in mind. But since I had only learned how to script, not how to make a game itself, my work was severely low in quality. Like, my game making skills was on life support. I'm telling you, man, I thought I could make games just because I was able to script. The reality of the matter is, if you know how to script, or you know how to build, or you know how to animate, or you know how to make meshes or whatever, this does not necessarily mean you know how to make games. If you're still confused, what I'm trying to say is that making a game, a decent playable and decently enjoyable game, is another skill in itself. The process of creating a game takes a lot of planning, in some cases very high amounts of planning. And also, I'm sorry man, but I just gotta say it, not everyone just wakes up and says I have a good game idea. And some people think they have a good idea, but it's actually a horrible idea. And this is what brings me to the first crucial mistake while trying to make a game. Also, when I say game, I mean like a game that you're trying to be successful with, not like a regular project that you don't really care that much about. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do if you don't want to make a good game is just start creating a game just by the first idea that pops into your mind when you're talking with your friends on Discord at 2 a.m. Yeah, I see you. I do it too, so I recognize you. So the practical advice for this would be to think of at least 5 game ideas. Really put thought into all of them. Value which one would be the most fulfilling to create right now, but also take into account your current skills. And more importantly, take into account if you'd play a game like the one you're playing. Would you enjoy playing the game that you're playing? That is a very key question that you need to ask yourself. And it sounds obvious, but the truth of the matter is not a lot of people do it, especially if they're new. And then just pick one based on what I've said. Now, the second thing you want to do to not create a game is not plan the basic mechanics of your game all the way through. If you want a recipe for disaster, don't even think about what are the basic functions that your game must have. And the counter practical advice for this would be, hold on, actually, before I say that, if you're hiring people and then midway you go like, you know what, actually, I want this to have this instead or that instead of that. If you do it 1 or 2 times, people will generally not have a problem with it. But if you keep doing it repeatedly, especially if the guy that's working for you is already advanced in what he's doing, then he's potentially just either gonna ask for more money for the modifications or just leave the project altogether. And just like that, you lost time and money. So think of the basic mechanics that your game will have. What are the base mechanics that your game just cannot function without, and literally plan the interactions and the connections with all the other mechanics all the way through, especially if you're planning to hire people, because otherwise if you start modifying things when they are already working or are advanced in it, it's gonna cost you extra. Now, the third thing you want to do if you don't want to make a decent game is to have your whole Explorer disorganized. Like, bro, your workspace should have models and folders to help organization in the project. Same with every service there. You want to have folders and keep everything organized. Each time I see the Explorer or whatever looking like a mess with a whole bunch of stuff just laying there with no folders or anything, I'm just like, why? It will make you lose time when you're unable to find something. Learn how to organize the assets and everything in your game, man. Trust me, you'll thank me later. And then the last thing you want to do if you're trying to make a bad game is not split test your game in every way you can think of. Now, but for real, bro, like, you must always be testing every single aspect of your game, both in studio and in normal Roblox. Some bugs only happen in studio and some bugs only happen in normal Roblox. Never implement and publish something that you haven't fully tested and fixed. The more things you have unattended, the more bugs it will create. And what you don't know is that just like in real life, bugs multiply. Leave 2 bugs in your game, and if they're major bugs, you'll see how a bunch of other stuff just breaks out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere. And yeah, that's all I have for today, bro. Keep leveling up, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.